Kyle here, Odys Mentor, and today I'm going to be giving you the growth blueprint for mysmartpuppy.com. So here we have mysmartpuppy.com. I'm really excited about this one. So I'm going to be walking you through my whole checklist here. As you can see, there's a lot of detail. And at any point, if you have any questions, feel free just to book a call directly, and we can go over any one of these topics in more in depth. So basically, the reason why I picked it, so my domain criteria, my selection process. So what I love about this domain, number one, is the name, My Smart Puppy. It's brandable, but it's still very targeted. So you know exactly what this domain is about when you're looking at it. I think this is very useful for branding purposes, but then also within Google to better optimize your content and so on. It's very targeted, basically, which I love. And there's a ton of opportunity with puppies in general. So it's a huge niche. If you scroll down into the Odys dashboard here, you can look at the way back. So what was the domain actually about? And of course, judging by the name, it was indeed a website, which is everything related to training puppies, right? So moving on from that, so you can see that's very targeted. Obviously, it has a lot of really great features. The domain authority here, so I have some notes. So it's DRR27 with 211 referring domains. So if we open this up here into Ahrefs, which I have already, you can see the high DR links. This is always what I look for when acquiring an auction domain or an age domain, is that you want to see these high authority links. So for example, you can see it's got links from New York Times, it's got links from pbs.org, it's got links from howstuffworks.com, people.com, and then more specific high authority links from Rover, which is specifically to pets as well. So this is great. This is a huge competitive advantage when starting a new website, right? Because these links are very hard to acquire. It's very time consuming and so on. So if you can just buy the domain and get started with this kind of backlink profile from the beginning, it's a tremendous advantage. So moving on from there, from the backlink profile and the name, just in terms of an actual niche, people love dogs. If you have a dog, if you're interested in dogs, you know this. They are like legitimately a part of the family. They're basically, for a lot of people, they're the equivalent of having a child. So people are going to be spending a lot of money on their pets, spending a lot of money on training their pets. So there's just a lot of products. And just to go further, if you're not convinced, what I have here is evidence of the strong community. So I just did a quick search here, and you can just find there's many more subreddits, but I always like to start with seeing the overall community, the people online, right? This is going to give me a lot more details into the niche itself. So just after doing some quick Google searches for, puppy, I went specific for puppies as well. So obviously the dog niche is huge in general, but even if you want to drill down to be even more specific to puppies and dog training, which is where I would start, you can see here these are some Reddit threads which I found. So you have, for example, our puppy, our dog training. So this one here has 276,000 members. This one here has 486,000 members. And then if you want to just expand on the dog threads in general, I have this thread here, and you can see a list of all the active dog subreddits. So for information, for being funny, weird, different questions, all that sort of stuff, dogs being cute, like there's just such a strong community here. So there's obviously, like, it's going to be very easy for you to target your audience in this particular niche, which if you're interested in dogs, you already know that, right? But just to further the case here. So moving on from the actual forum, and then again in the forums, you have other more specific forums which are not Reddit. So you have like dogforums.com, and you could find, probably dozens, if not hundreds, of different forums of people. And each one of these has actually like specific breeds which people would be interested in. So if you have, for example, a German Shepherd, these people might have specific questions, and there could potentially be specific forums related to that in general. So moving on from there, the actual competitors. So there's a lot of competitors to choose from. I just did some research here, and I just found this is more specific to Dog Food Advisor. I'm using these ones as not a direct competitor, but just as an authority site, just to kind of give you some perspective in the niche and the overall size of the niche. So this one is targeting just dog food, right? Dog Food Advisor. That's the main topic, obviously, by the name. But you can see here there are DR76 with over 1.1 million traffic, and that's just in Ahrefs alone. That's not including, whatever direct traffic they're getting. If I open them up, whatever traffic they're getting, they probably have an email list. They probably have some social media presence. As you can see here, like, there's alerts and stuff. So this is just focused primarily on dog food, which is a sub niche of dogs, which is a sub niche of pets. And they're getting 1.1 billion traffic in Ahrefs, which, as you can see, is quite impressive here. So just to kind of give you the size and the opportunity of the niche, if you want, like, there's just a lot of room there, basically. So moving on from there, some more, domains, like if you wanted to see some smaller examples, some people that you'd be able to compete with, or some websites that you'd be able to compete with from the beginning, there's many more, right? You can just even actually open up Dog Food Advisor. You could open them up into Ahrefs. And if you wanted to pick some lower DR sites, this is how I would approach that. I do already have a list here for you, just to give you an example. But if you wanted to do it yourself, which I highly recommend when starting a niche site, just go to organic competitors here in Ahrefs or whatever tool you're going to be using for doing your SEO research. But basically what you're going to have here is a list of all the competitors. This is based on keywords. And you can just, what I would do is I would filter them by DR less than say 20. So you have a DR 27 if you were to acquire this site. If you were to invest in this site, if you have a DR 27 from the beginning. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to aim lower just to really smash the competition, the people that are below me. So I wouldn't aim for DR 30 to start. I would aim for everybody that's under DR 20, I would say, as a general rule. Even DR 10, if you can find many of those, because it's highly likely that you're going to be able to outrank them very fast, right? So if I just have a look here, you can filter by DR, and then you can go by lowest DR. And again, you could do this by many dog competitors or puppy competitors, anything like that. This is just one example, but basically you can filter through. Give it a sec to load here. That's actually higher DR. Give it a sec. Here you can see some lower DR, like DR 1.7, 5K traffic, DR 5, 600, 7.6, dogfoodreviews.com. So you could go and export all these keywords if you'd like, and then just that could be a good framework. We can move on to that in a second, but just to kind of give you an idea that there is low DR sites, lower DR than what you would have starting out, that are ranking quite well. I would focus mostly on puppies, but this is just to give you an idea. Then I do have some other sites here. For example, mini weenie dogs. We focus on wiener dogs themselves, 2.8. The DR is 2.8. They have 20,000 traffic in Ahrefs, and then something a little bit more closer to the DR that you have here, which is DR 27. And then you have, so the DR 30, 28,000 traffic. So there's just a lot of opportunity, basically, as you can see. There's high DR, there's low DR, there's lots of, there's so many different angles that you could spin this to kind of wedge your way, to kind of like carve out your way within the competition, basically. So now moving on to content, right? So you already have the backlinks figured out once you acquire this domain. The next plan would be, okay, well, how do we approach content? So for content, the way that I would go about this is I would grab all these threads, which I've just mentioned, and specifically the ones that are related to puppies and dog training. What I would do then is I would put them into Ahrefs. So I would start with Reddit. So I have an example here. Now, if we go to, this is my smart puppy. Where's my example? Sorry. So for example, I have Reddit here. You just put in the thread. So whatever the URL is that you're going to be doing. So for this one is puppy 101. Now you can do this for every single Reddit thread, right? Ahrefs gives you the option to add many different rules. So URL contains whatever the rule is of that particular subreddit. And then you can also just doesn't contain Reddit. And what this is going to do, and then filter by position 1 to 10. So show me keywords that are on position page 1. And then you could even expand further. I would probably enter in like less than KD5. And you're going to have a whole list of keywords that you could target, which Reddit is targeting. And the beauty of these keywords is that they might not have the actual primary keyword in them. So this is going to give you a huge list of keywords. For example, like here's a good topic. I just found in 1 second, right? Like, so when do I get my life back after a puppy? This is a great question that you would want to answer, right? If you had a blog on puppies. So you could then export all these keywords and then put them into a tool like Keyword Cupid to help basically organize them. What that's going to do with Keyword Cupid, it's just going to group the keywords together. So it's going to show you which keywords belong on one page and like whether it's going to be a subtopic or a page. Just very fast way to sift through thousands of keywords. So put them in a tool like Keyword Cupid. And I would do the same for all the competitors that have that DR less than 20, because you're DR 27. So I would do less than DR 20. So you can outrank them on a DR level and just see which keywords they're ranking from position 1 to 10. And then do the same thing, KD less than 5, right? So just export all those. And then when I say, my note here is see where there's some overlap. So wherever there's overlap between a specific breed and puppies, because you want to be as targeted as possible. So if you notice that there's a huge list of questions related to specific types of puppies, that's basically where I would start. Just try to categorize it as well as possible. Then you can also use Chat GPT to help you out with that. Just like ask them questions like which one of these keywords are semantically relevant and so on, right? So that's just going to help to categorize them basically. And then again, I always use the avalanche method. You can do a quick Google search on that. But basically in terms of goals, 1 post per day for 120 days. Once you have your kind of topic plans, your content plan figured out, it's time to put it into action. Aim for the goal of 1 post per day. I've spoken about this in other videos, but basically, if you're doing this yourself, it's an achievable goal, especially with tools like ChatGPT to help you produce content. And if you can do more faster, then great, do that. If you can't, this is a good goal. If you want to be serious about starting a site, this is a great goal to have. It gives you a 6-month runway. Now, how would I monetize the site? So Monetizing the site, basically, I would always just start with ads. It's going to take you a little bit of time to be able to get approved to say Mediavine or Raptive, which is also known as AdThrive. But if you're publishing quite a bit of content, you should be able to get there pretty quick. I've managed to get my sites to 50,000 traffic within a 6-month period as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can also do a Zoic and get monetized right away. So I'll just put actually the Zoic there 1 second. So at Zoic, you could get onto Zoic pretty fast. So once you can get approved in Mediavine or Raptive, then go there. So then another interesting angle, which I really like about this niche, is you also have lead gen. You have the opportunity for lead gen. So specific puppy breeders. So what you can do actually, just a quick little side note, you can ask chat, just to get some ideas of all the different types of puppy breeds, just ask chat GPT, what are the 20 most popular puppy breeds in the USA? And this gives you a nice list to work off from. Once you have this list, you can then put this into Ahrefs and then just do matching terms, KD less than say 5, and then include any of the terms which would be breed or breeders. And what this is going to do is give you a whole list of people that are searching for breeders in specific areas. So if you're an expert on puppies, then that would also make you an expert potentially on puppy or dog breeders, right? So people don't want to go through puppy mills. So this is a tremendous opportunity for you to not only get traffic for local, like maybe less competitive queries, but then also to potentially do lead generation, or basically you can rent out ad space to specific puppy breeders. You can work out deals where you offer their phone number on that particular page and so on, right? So there's a lot of ways that you can go about this. And generally speaking, local terms tend to be lower competition. So if you just have a look at those, you'll see many websites that are under DR5 and so on, or under DR10 that are ranking quite well. So if I just, where's this keyword? Sorry, I don't have it open right now. So here's my example here. Just the first one, like this is one example of many, but as you can see, DR0, DR2, DR0, Facebook, which is not relevant, DR0. So local terms generally have much lower DR. So if you could then expand out on your local queries, this is a huge opportunity, which is something that it's a little bit unconventional, a lot of people haven't thought of. So then once you're into the niche and you know there's specific problems, there's always the opportunity for courses, consultations, info products, that sort of stuff. And then of course you have affiliate links, so selling specific products, right, for specific any kind of product related to puppy training, that sort of stuff. And again, you could drill down to specific breeds. And then there's other like you don't have to rely on Amazon in this niche, because I know there's popular affiliate programs with, say, for example, Chewy. And then of course you have the email list. So now to sum that up, basically, are there any drawbacks? So the drawbacks that I do find within this minor drawbacks would be if you go through the referring domains, basically you'll notice that a lot of these have links going to inner pages. So you will have to map these out, put them into Wayback, and then recreate these pages, set up redirects. So it is a little bit, again, it takes a little bit of extra work, not a big deal. Yeah, that's something that you have to consider. On top of that also is, although there's a lot of room for opportunity within the dog niche, puppy niche, specific breeds, that sort of stuff, the niche can be competitive. Like there is a lot of competitors in the niche. So you do have to be careful when you're selecting your keywords, when you're selecting like which direction to go after, because you could, it's not a layup. Basically, it's going to take a little bit more work to actually filter through the keywords, or filter, especially in the beginning when you're starting your site. So making sure that you are targeting keywords that have lower DR sites on page 1 and so on. So if you're not careful, then you could be writing a lot of content and not get any traction. So be very specific on the keywords and the targeting, and then your specific angle on the niche. So I really think it's important to drill down on this, and specifically with not just talk about dogs, but talk specifically about puppies and puppy training. And then if you can drill down even one step further for puppy training on a specific breed, which you know has a lot of interest, which hasn't yet been covered, I think that's basically the best opportunity there. So again, if you have any questions on this, feel free to book a call with me today, or any other questions about how I would approach this, or any other content plan, any questions about building content sites on premium age domains, book a call with me and I'll be more than happy to help you out. I appreciate your time. Thanks, Kyle. That's it. Bye now.